Don't believe the fear about Trump's big, beautiful bill. Not until you've seen what's actually in it. Because, come on, we've all been gaslit enough for the last 10 years. It's like when you rush your phone to the Geek Squad and scream, "It's dead!" And that 20-something kid behind the counter replies, did you try turning it on? This video is for anyone who's been frustrated by all the media spin and tribal noise. So let's take a look at what's actually in the bill and whether Trump advisor Stephen Miller is telling the truth in his defense of it.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
We're going to test three major claims that critics are making about the bill and compare them directly to Miller's own words. But first, a quick word for the GOP. It's been 5 months, and this is the first major piece of legislation House Republicans have passed. You have to wonder if the ghost of Pelosi has them binge-watching reruns of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
You understand that? Never go after my husband.
While Trump is laying out a clear strategic agenda, House and Senate Republicans are still squabbling over Democrat talking points, like the SALT deduction for blue states, or whether to rescind parts of the Inflation Reduction Act, a bill they all voted against. It's like a high school turf war over seats in the cafeteria. Okay, let's get to the claims. Claim number one, the bill doesn't actually cut government spending. It's fake. Miller's take? This bill reduces spending by $1.6 trillion. And that's mandatory spending, welfare, Medicaid, food stamps, and similar programs. Because reconciliation doesn't even allow you to touch discretionary spending like the Department of Education. The verdict. Miller is basically right. The bill cuts $1.6 trillion from mandatory spending, including a huge welfare reform package. If you're judging it for not doing something it's not legally allowed to do, well, that's not a fair fight. That's like criticizing Steve Buscemi for not being handsome like Brad Pitt. He's not built that way. Claim number two, this bill increases the deficit. Miller's take, the CBO does this trick. They pretend that Trump tax cuts are going to expire, even though we all know the goal is to make them permanent. Then, when you extend them, they call it new spending. It's as if keeping your own money is a cost to the government. Verdict. Again, Miller's got a point. The 2017 tax cuts led to a record federal revenues, from $3.3 trillion in 2017 to nearly $5 trillion in 2022. Yes, revenue as a percentage of GDP dipped slightly, but the real driver of our ballooning deficit is spending, which has gone from $4.4 trillion in 2019 to $6.8 trillion in 2024. The CBO is not the gospel of math. It's a bureaucratic calculator, like a trash compactor. Garbage in, garbage out. They assume expiration, call the extension a cost, ignore the spending cuts. Claim number three, this bill spends trillions of dollars. Miller's take, people are counting all of the routine spending the government does anyway and acting like the bill creates it out of nowhere. It doesn't. It doesn't even handle most of the federal budget. This is about reforming programs and setting direction. The verdict. Miller's framing is pretty on point. Also worth noting, the CBO appears to ignore the projected $1.4 trillion in savings from things like tighter Medicaid eligibility and cutting SNAP fraud. Historically, the CBO has been very conservative on estimating behavior-based savings, like people returning to work or leaving benefit programs. So while the bill does contain funding for the border and defense priorities, it also includes massive net cuts. And here's a bonus tip for Senate Republicans. Why not create a second bill after this that includes the discretionary spending cuts? And here's a question for you. If we cut, say, $2 trillion from the federal spending, would anyone notice? In all honesty, this debate is half-baked, so let's see what happens in the Senate. But just one more thing, bear with me here. The CBO was created in 1974 by Congress, and given the fact we're staring down $36 trillion in debt, and there has not been any significant spending cuts since that time, Shouldn't we be asking whether the CBO is holding Congress accountable or enabling their drunken spending? The moral of the story? Don't let them treat you like trash. I'm Brian Tuttimore for today's Faith Check News. Remember, think right to live free.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.